You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Well, hey, you know I'm a coffee lover. I start out my day with a cup of bulletproof coffee 2-3 more times during the day. I love my latte, and especially breve latte. That's with half and half. But the good thing is there's money to be made in coffee, believe it or not. And I have Josh Ziegelbaum with me. He is head of IR at Legacy Group, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, is a smallish private equity group that really looks for basically investing in worthy companies to generate profits. And as you say on the website, meaningful impact. Right now, you're focused in Colombia. And you've got a coffee company that I know you're dying to tell me about.
That's right. Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate you having me on the show today. So my name's Josh Ziegelbaum. As you mentioned, I'm Director of Investor Relations for Legacy Group. We're an alternative asset manager that focuses on Latin America. The two partners who I work with, Cole Shepard and Adam Jason, both live and work out of Medellin, Colombia, where we have our portfolio companies. Our flagship company is Green Coffee Company, the one you mentioned here. It's currently the second largest coffee producer in Colombia today, on track to be the largest here in 2022, with further planting of coffee trees on our farmland. We control 5,000 acres of coffee farmland in Salgar, Colombia, just a couple hours outside of Medellin. We founded the business about 5 years ago. And we've grown it to what it is today with investor capital. We brought in over 25 million of investment capital, primarily from US accredited investors. And we're deploying that in opportunities in Latin America, and specifically in Green Coffee Company.
All right. So they've been growing coffee in South America, Africa for hundreds of years here. What do you know about coffee growing that the local folk haven't learned yet?
Yeah, so coffee processes are different in different parts of the world. For example, in Brazil, it's harvested with machines primarily, but in Colombia, it's hand-picked coffee. And coffee is the national product in the country there. So the practices you could imagine with the hand-picked product are very antiquated, and the farmland ownership is fragmented. The ownership is really spread out between smaller landholding families that have had the properties for generations. And they use really dated types of farming practices and don't provide formal employment to those who are working on the farmland. So what we do is we're applying industry-changing, really innovative technology in terms of our processing facilities and the way in which we produce and procure coffee product and green bean coffee. And we're really lifting up the communities in which we work. So we brought in technology from Brazil, from developed Europe, and we have the most sophisticated coffee processing facility in Colombia, arguably in the region, that we inaugurated in October of last year. We have a second facility planned to come online this year. And we're doing some really special things, and we're innovating upon the practices that you'd traditionally find there.
So antiquated, fragmented. So it's really, like you said, a bunch of generational landholders, and they're still doing it the way they did in the 1800s. And I read recently that we're having issues with the high price of fertilizer, which is really affecting coffee growers. I kind of just always thought, Josh, that coffee kind of grew out in the wild, and they went and they picked the beans, and they had the burlap bag on their shoulder, and they threw the beans in there. So things are changing, huh?
Yeah, most certainly. So we're seeing that uptick in the cost of fertilizer prices, like you mentioned, to address that first point. And we took a step forward there, and we acquired all the fertilizer needed for 2022, and we've already ordered it and have it in or in transit to the region in which we operate. So we're able to lock in our costs for the year on the fertilizer front. And we're continuing to benefit from increased commodity prices. As a producer at origin, when you control the production and the farming, as commodity prices rise, certain input costs such as fertilizer rise along with it. But our investors and us, we benefited significantly from the dramatic increase you've seen in coffee commodity prices over the recent year or two. We have also a specialty coffee product. So what you see in spot commodity pricing is for a basic commodity style coffee. We sell at premiums to that based on the scoring and grading of our coffee. And you're right, the industry is changing. I mean, and we believe we're at the forefront of it. So we're not only producing specialty coffee in our own facilities from our own farms, but we're buying cherries from neighboring farms, really uplifting Selgar and the farmers around us and giving them a fair outlet to sell their coffee at fair prices. And then from an employment standpoint, this is what really resonates with me. When you go down and you visit the farms, you can just see the well-being of the employees and how passionate they are about the work that they're doing. I mean, the way in which the industry works, not only in Colombia, but in the region, I mean, people are generally usually paid cash. They're not given employee benefits. If something happens and they get hurt at the farms, so what? I mean, they're just left at the side of the road in certain instances.
No workman's comp there, huh?
Yeah, no workman's comp, right? So, and it sounds crazy to us here in the States, like, oh, formal employment, that's what we have. But what we're doing, we're really uplifting the communities. We pay fairly. We pay through bank accounts. We allow our employees to build credit. We pay into pensions. We offer benefits. It's something really unique. So that resonates a lot with me and with our investor base, I would say, from the impact perspective. And we're doing things on the environmental component as well with our planting, but the social impact is really an important one, I would say.
Yeah. So when you're investing here, you've acquired a pretty sizable land package, but you're still buying from other producers.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Torque Resources is an exploration company establishing a portfolio of premier copper-gold early-stage projects in Chile. Torque's management and technical teams have a strong track record of raising capital, discovery, and monetization of exploration successes. The company's Margarita copper-gold project is located within the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt in Chile, which hosts some of the world's largest and most profitable copper mines. The Margarita project possesses excellent discovery potential for a major copper discovery due to the strength of the alteration system, large-scale magnetic targets, and the presence of copper oxide mineralization. Drilling is anticipated to begin in Q3 of this year. Torque trades in Canada under TORQ and on the OTC under TRBMF. To learn more, go to torqueresources.com. That's torqueresources.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
That's right. That's right. We have enough capacity in our processing facilities to produce everything that we have from our own farms, plus acquire additional cherries from neighboring farms. We have another facility scheduled to come online in the coming months here too, which we're happy to announce formally to our investor base.
So I assume you've done like a lot of projections on global coffee consumption, or is it like chocolate where they say we're basically going to run out of chocolate because of the increasing larger international market?
We don't believe that we're going to run out of coffee, but what you're seeing is an increase in pricing, and that's reflected in the commodity price charts. So, I mean, the demand has exceeded supply, which is causing what you're seeing in pricing, but we don't believe that product is going to dry up or there won't be any, but we think that the trend is sustainable in terms of the upward pressures we're seeing in commodity prices based on the factors you mentioned.
Okay. And so yours is a higher level coffee. How does coffee get graded? I'm curious about that. I know there are different qualities and levels. Can you just explain that to me?
Sure, I can give it to you at a high level. So there's a specialty coffee association that created some guidelines around cupping a cup of coffee. That's basically sampling a cup of coffee. And they generally do it before it's even roasted. So there's a method in which coffee connoisseurs and cuppers will taste the coffee and they'll smell it. They'll do many different things in order to grade it. And then upon that grading, it'll get a score. And with that score, you can determine the pricing you're able to get in the market.
Okay. So like standard Brazilian coffee that goes into the most of the roasters, Folgers or Maxwell House, whatever's around now. I haven't bought that coffee in 30 years. What does that usually get rated at?
I believe I don't want to say with certainty, but I believe it's in the 70s in terms of the rating on the scale. And then we're in the 80s at a specialty coffee grade.
Okay. And interesting. So really, there's great potential here if you're an investor, if I have it right.
That's right. So we have the business itself, Green Coffee Company, set up as a US-based investment opportunity. So while all the assets and all the farmland are primarily in this region of Salgar, we have a holding company here in the States for which we issue common equity to our investors. So we give our limited partners direct access to alternative investment opportunities in Latin America with an experienced management team, and we've made it as easy and frictionless as possible. We brought on north of 230 investors through several funding rounds. We most recently completed our Series B funding round and are really making a name for ourselves in the region. And yes, it's open for accredited investors only. I'd say about 85% of our investor base is American, and the rest is rest of world.
Really exciting. All right. So besides coffee, you're into real estate, you're into tech, early stage development. What else do you have in the pipeline here?
Sure. We have a company that's really exciting, which a lot of our investors ask about. It's called Polygonis. It's a company that we made a seed investment in at Legacy Group a number of years ago. And what they do is 3D art and design. They create a lot of the characters you see in digital productions and in video games. They also have an academy in order to teach the emerging youth how to do such things. And it's really interesting business. It's grown enormously over the years. Since we made our seed investment 3 years ago, they're on track to do $6 million in revenue here in 2022. They have almost 100 employees. It's in Medellin in the financial district. So that's one in which we may open up for outside investment at a point in the future. They've been self-sustainable since the earlier round in which we participated in. But we're continuously looking for opportunities for ourselves and for our investors to get in early on unique early stage investments in the region that either we found or that we're heavily involved in. So like you said, the industries we're in, agriculture, real estate, technology, we're looking at some things in fintech and property tech. And that's really what we focus on.
All right. Well, people want to find out more about what you're doing, connect with you on the web. How do you do that, Josh?
Yeah, Kerry, you can find us online at www.legacy-group.co. That's legacy-group.co. You can also email us at investor.relations@legacy-group.co. All
right, excellent. Well, we'll have the links in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Make sure you sign up for your free newsletter. And if you got a question for Josh, just shoot me an email. We'll get you an answer, kl@kerrylutz.com. Josh, really interesting endeavor, and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.